I wanted my enemies to die. And when I wanted them to die, or when they die, I want them to do like a physics death. And then I want them to, kind of ragdoll around. But I wanted them to react to the direction that they were getting like shot or kicked or punched or blown up or something. So today that's what we're going to be working on, is how to set up physics death with, adding an impulse, adding a reaction. Get that guy out of there. From the direction of the attacker. And I have kind of an interesting way of doing it. So I hope you like it today. Get that guy out of there. We've got a melee backflip. Anyway, let's go ahead and set this up. So I need to add some more enemies to my game. And I was perusing around and I found these little alien insectoids on the Unreal Marketplace. And I kind of like them. I mean, they're kind of horrible, but I kind of like them for the game. So I figured, let's go ahead and get them. I'm going to add them into the game. And we're just going to walk through the process of setting this up from scratch, from the beginning. So let's make that happen. So we purchased the aliens. I cut out that part because I don't want to show my credit card information. We're going to go ahead and add it to projects and add it to the project that I'm currently working on. And just to be fair, this is not a tutorial on like how to set up a full character or full enemy AI. This is really just going from the physics death. There's going to be some things we're going to cover, like setting up the projectile and stuff like that. But for the most part, this isn't going to be like a full tutorial on how to make enemies, how to make AI, stuff like that. If you do want that, let me know and I will make them. There's already a ton of great tutorials and I'll try to link some of those in the description if I remember. All right, so to start, let's just see how they look in the world, if I need to scale them at all. Okay. They look okay. Pretty big, a little bit bigger. I think I like that. Let's see, do I like them scaled down a little bit more? I can always play around with this later, but... Nah, the scale they have is perfectly fine. Okay. Easiest thing to do is actually just go ahead and copy something you already have. If you don't have anything other than the base, we are going to go ahead and just start with copying the standard issue UE4, UE5 mannequin. And actually, before I forget, I usually recommend if you're going to start working on something pretty heavy, just go ahead and add it to favorites. I don't see many people doing this in tutorials, but it really, really helps. Okay, so here we are down here in third-person blueprints, and I'm just going to go ahead and take this third-person character, and I am going to copy it over to that alien insectoid folder that I have here. And again, make sure to copy, not move. Your location may differ a little bit. I've been working on this project for a while, so I have a lot of extra stuff in my content. I know some content creators will go through and create a full blank project, but I just kind of want to get some work done, and I figured, maybe I'll show off how I do this stuff in the meantime. Okay, so we have our new third-person character here. Let's go ahead and pop this guy open. Actually, before I do that, I want to rename it. I'm going to go ahead and hit the F2, and I'm going to rename this CH, because that's how I name all of my characters. I'm going to call this, I guess, Insectoid. So I always know what it is. Inside of Insectoid, skeletal mesh, we're going to go and choose the insectoid skeleton that we have. Body A or body B? Let's go with body A. Why not? We're not going to be setting up an animation blueprint in this tutorial because there's a ton of stuff on that already. But, I'm going to just go ahead and use animation asset, and we're going to call this, we're going to use the idle. Okay. Let's see how this guy looks now. Okay. Looks good. Might want to brighten up those colors a little bit. I think I'm going to want to make this guy a little bit brighter. He sort of blends into the background there. Okay. Yeah, let me just go ahead and take care of that real quick. Okay, let's go ahead and face the camera here. And it looks like we have what? Materials, skin and body, material instances, this. Looks like it's probably a little bit brighter. Okay. And skin body A03. Let's get started on setting up the physics death. Okay, let's talk about the projectile real quick, because I think some folks go a little bit wonky with their projectile. And again, I'm not going to show you how to set up a projectile from the ground up, but just make sure that you have this attached to your projectile, or your projectile set up in this way, otherwise it won't work. Let's go ahead and find my guy. Space robots and weapons. The laser weapon, laser 3. Okay. Here we are at apply damage. And this is going to be the most important thing. So right now I just have on component hit, blah, 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 blah. Just making sure I'm not actually shooting myself, but apply damage. You want to make sure that you're applying damage. Obviously, damage causer, player character. Make sure this is hooked up. If this isn't hooked up, nothing else is going to work. So on the apply damage, damage causer is get player character. And it's super easy. You just type in get player character. Okay, moving on. All right, head on back to your content browser. Go into your insectoid folder or whatever you're doing. And we're going to go ahead and create an entirely new blueprint now. And this is where I think my technique here differs a little bit different, is we're not trying to use the existing alien. We're not trying to use the existing character. All that logic is going out the door, and we're spawning an entirely new actor. So we're going to create an actor. I'm going to call this Blueprint BP, and we're going to call this Insectoid Death. Great. Go ahead and open up your Insectoid Death, and we're going to go ahead and add a skeletal mesh. And we're just going to go ahead and manually grab the skeleton here. Insectoid, we're going to go with body A, because that's what I think we already did. But we changed the skin, didn't we? So we need to make sure that we have the same skin on here, and that was skin 03. Great. Let's go ahead and go down to collisions on this bad boy. Collision, and we're going to go and set this up as ragdoll. There we go, ragdoll. And we're going to set up everything to accept damage. So we're going to go event, any damage. And you know what? Let's go ahead and add a float for health. So variables plus health. I want it to be capitalized. Boolean, make sure that that is a float. Go ahead and compile, and we're going to set the default value here to, let's make him easy to kill. 15, so I know I have to shoot him. So anytime we receive damage, we are going to set our health, and we're going to go to health minus subtract. So we're taking our existing health here, and we're subtracting the damage that we received, and then we are going to set our new health based on that. So we set all our new health here. Now we need to check to see if the character, if any insectoid here is still alive. So we're going to do a branch, and if health less than or equal, always do less than or equal. I've seen a ton of people, and myself included when I was just starting out, you'll set this to equal 0. You won't do less than or equal, you do equal 0. And then because this is a float, it can be greater. You'll have, let's say you have 1 hit point left and you receive 5 hit points of damage. Well, now this is not equal. This is not equal to 0. It's equal to -4, I think. So your character will just keep living. And I've seen that frustrate a ton of people. So less than or equal. If the character is still alive in this scenario, we're not going to do anything. If it's true, if the character does have less than or equal to 0 hit points, we're going to kill enemy. And right now, we're not going to do anything at this point. Well, actually here. True, we're going to go destroy actor, just so we know that our code is functioning properly. Go ahead and compile, and let's go ahead and make sure that our logic works here. Let me get my controller off the dock. By the way, if you want to use any third-party controllers for whatever reason, but they're not compatible with Unreal Engine, quick shout out how to WSAD or WASD, Resad. This is an incredible piece of software. It allows you to just anything you want. So if you want to use like a Stadia controller or a Switch Pro controller or whatever, this thing will recognize it and tell your computer, hey, no, this is actually an Xbox 360 controller. Don't worry about it. It's cool. It's all good. Yeah, hugely recommend this piece of software. This is not sponsored. Obviously, I don't have enough people to sponsor something. If they'd like to sponsor me, that would be cool, but I don't do this full time. Okay, let's make sure our guy works here. Boom, boom, boom. He disappeared. Perfect. Our code, our logic works. Great. Let's go ahead and start doing the fancy stuff now. We're going to say go back to our just regular character insectoid. And for destroy actor, let's go ahead and just put this off to the side to now. By the way, if you want to know how to quickly disconnect that, just hold down the Alt button and click on the king pin, and then it'll just go ahead and disconnect there, or the executive pin. Okay, so from here, remember, we had our event any damage. If the health is less than or equal to 0, we're going to go ahead and destroy the actor. Before we do that, though, we want to spawn something. So we're going to spawn actor from class. The class is going to be our insectoid, our dead insectoid death. So this is where it differs. We're going to spawn this guy, and then we're going to go ahead and destroy our current actor, which is the insectoid, the actual alien character that's running around and shooting and doing all that damage. So all of the logic, all of the animations, all of the blueprints, everything that's involved with making your enemy AI run around the screen and shoot your player and hurt him and blow him up and all that stuff, gone. Completely gone. Now the only thing we have to worry about once we kill this guy is everything going on that we want to happen in our new death blueprint. For me, this made things tremendously easy. This streamlined everything because stopping collision, stopping animation, stopping AI, stopping movement immediately, all of that garbage, it took a lot. Easiest thing, spawn the actor, spawn your new actor, kill the existing actor. Boom, it's done. It's seamless in game. You can't even see it. Okay, spawn transform. Let's go ahead and get our spawn transform here. So we want to know the direction and the location and the rotation and all of that of the actual mesh component. So drag out the mesh component and go get world transform. Plug that transform right in there. Collision handling, we want to always spawn ignore collisions. Once you spawn this guy, we're going to go ahead and destroy the actor. Destroy the insectoid actor. Great. Compile that, and let's check it out real quick. Okay, back into the content browser. Go ahead and play, and didn't work. Let's figure out why. Okay, it's a simple fix. It was a silly thing. Back in our insectoid death blueprint, click on skeletal mesh, scroll on down until you find physics, and we want to actually simulate physics. That's what we were missing, simulate physics. Go ahead and compile, save, and let's go ahead and play it again, and now we'll see. Boom, he dies, just crumples in on himself. Looks great. If this is all that you wanted, you're done. If you just wanted these, take him up onto a ledge, drop him off, and yeah. Yeah, that'll look pretty good. If we take this guy, let's go ahead and put him on a pipe over here for some reason. Whoop, not that. Ugh, yes, thank you for the camera. Generally, when I'm making a new AI, I like to actually set it up as a character first. That way it's really easy to test to make sure all the blueprints look good, all the animations look good, the movement looks good. A lot of other people don't. They just set it up with AI first. This is just the way I like to do it, but it makes it a pain when this guy, you know, spawns in. Okay, let's see how the physics death looks now. Beautiful. Looks so good. You can probably tell something funny though, is this guy is in an idle state, right? He's in an idle state, and our insectoid is in an A frame, an A pose over here. So let's see, I think, how do we fix that? And actually, let me show you the problem just in case it's not entirely clear. I'm going to go ahead and turn physics off real quick. Compile, and now when we look at this guy here, you'll see he's in his nice idle pose there. And then when he dies, he snaps back into that A pose. Not really as realistic, especially if we think this guy is probably going to be running around or fighting or in a little bit more aggressive pose. To fix that, we're going to go to the insectoid death blueprint, skeletal mesh, and we're going to go to animation mode. We're going to change this to animation asset, and we're going to go to our idle. Go ahead and compile that, and now when we shoot this guy, he'll stop moving. Oh no, he won't stop moving because we're using that animation blueprint. Let's go ahead and skeletal mesh. Go ahead and re-enable simulate physics. And you know what? I actually kind of want my character to be able to like push this guy around a little bit. I think that might be interesting. So I'm going to change this from custom. We're going to go to block pawn. You don't have to set this up. I just kind of want to push him around. There. Now when he dies, it looks pretty good. And I can keep pushing him around. Look at that. It looks so good. Get out of here, you. Get out of here. Okay. That looks really good so far. But I want this guy. You can see he's just kind of crumpling. When I shoot this guy, he just falls down. And that's, you know, that's okay. But this guy, when I shoot him, oh, he goes flying. When I kick this guy, you know, he goes flying over that thing, and it looks so good. It looks so good. We're going to backflip kick this guy. Boom, get out of here. I want this guy to do the same thing. I want him to react like that, to go flying when something hits him. To do that, it's a little bit more complicated. But if you wanted a physics death, a good physics death, you're done. Stop the video. Congratulations. For everybody else, let's keep going. Okay, I am back. I had to leave. We had a VoIP emergency. Some of my customers, they don't want to be with AT&T anymore. They want to fully transition to Unify Talk. So that's exciting. The video also not sponsored by Unify Talk. So just sharing. Anyway, as I was out and about, I had a thought. This guy, I threw, you know, just some random skin on this guy. And I want to use this blueprint for a lot of different stuff. So I think, or for a number of different aliens and alien types, and I want to identify them by their coloring. So I thought, you know, I should probably actually just go ahead and call that out. Okay, I'm back again. And it's even later now. So a bunch of calls about internet outages in our area. So I had to tell people, nope, not my equipment. It is optimum. All right. In any case, okay, so I think I remember where we were, that I want to put different materials on this guy, and I don't want to have to make a bunch of different blueprints for each different alien. So let's go ahead and take care of that. So we're going to go and start off by making sure that these materials are set. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and start an event begin gameplay. Event begin play. And let's go ahead and get the materials off of this guy. Let's see. Get materials. This is going to return an index to us. And when we look at the mesh, There's 3 different elements on here that we'll need to set, but just for demonstration purposes, let's go ahead and just pick the body, which is element 2. So we're going to get a copy. We actually want this to be number 2. I'm going to go back through later and set this up to get everything, but right now I think this will suffice because, yeah, this will suffice for now. This guy here, the output, go ahead and right click on the actual little pin right here, and we're going to promote that to a variable. And let's see, let's go ahead and name this guy. We're going to call this an M underscore skin. Oh, huh. I already made that variable. Super funny when I went through and set this up before. Okay. Go and get this as a setter. Perfect. That's now set. So when the game starts, it's going to, I'm sorry, when the blueprint is launched, it's going to go ahead and take a look at the mesh, and it's going to go, okay, what's the material in slot 2, and set it. Perfect. All right, now let's go ahead and compile that. We're going to jump into our death blueprint over here, and we need to do a couple interesting things. Let me delete this, delete this. We're going to go and add a custom event. So add custom event, death info. There we go. I'm going to call this death info, and I'm going to go ahead and compile this, and I want 2 parameters associated with this. Parameter number 1, I want to know the material. So we're going to call the same thing M skin. We're going to go ahead and set this material type to a material. Boy, was it a material instance? Yeah, material instance. Okay, let's double check that because I don't actually remember if that's correct or not. The way to check is we just look over here. Material instance, material interface. It's a material interface. So go back over here. I set this to a material interface. There it is. Material interface. Nailed it. Okay. We're going to go ahead and add one more input on here, and we're going to call this impact velocity, impact vector. We want this to be a vector. There we go. Go ahead and compile that so it sticks. Okay. We can go ahead and set up the logic for the skeletal mesh right now. So we're going to take skeletal mesh, set material. We already know that we want this to be element 2, not element 20. And we're going to connect the incoming pin here, M skin, oops, to the material. Okay, beautiful. Let's go ahead and compile it. Now we're going to jump back into our character insectoid, and we need to go ahead and tell it to call that. So from our destroyed actor, go ahead and get rid of that pin. And if you don't know, I can't remember what I've said at this point, hold down the Alt, click on that executive node or executive pin, and that'll get rid of that. Okay, so we're spawning this insectoid death blueprint already. So now we have a function that we can call inside of it. Go ahead and drag out from here, and we're going to call our death info. There it is. Beautiful. Material skin, we already have this. Get it, drag it out, stick it in there. Give ourselves a little bit more working room there. Beautiful. Once we do that, we can go ahead and destroy actor. Compile it, and just to show off that it's working, I'm going to go ahead and change the material on this one here. So right now for the body, we're using skin 3. Let's go ahead and use skin 5, I guess, just because it looks different. So now when we kill this guy, boom, 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 it doesn't work. Let's find out why. Okay, it didn't work because I didn't set the variable correctly. So classic user error. Okay, now it'll work. We got this guy here, shoot him, boom, 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 great. Retain that skin, perfect. And I'm just gonna go through and set up the other two later so we retain everything. Okay, let's go ahead and add the velocity now. So we're gonna jump back into our, I guess we'll start off with the insectoid death here. So we're going to go ahead and, again, from the skeletal mesh, I'll just grab another one because I don't like lines all over, even though, you know, if you're doing blueprints, sometimes you have to. So for our skeletal mesh, we're going to go ahead and add impulse. Remember, we're using this as a physics object, so we want to use physics nodes here. Great. Add impulse. But what impulse are we going to add? We want to know this vector over here. This is what we're going to be adding. We're going to go ahead and multiply just to make it, you know, nice and showy. Go ahead and right click over there and convert pin to a float. And this just makes it nice and easy for me, or nice and simple. We're going to multiply this by a negative value for demonstration purposes. I'm going to do something, you know, huge and showy, like 10,000. Multiply this by negative 10,000, plug it in there. Important, you want to do velocity change. Go ahead and change, you know, and set that to yes. Compile it. Beautiful. Now, back in our character insectoid blueprint, we need to do some maths. Okay, we need to tell it what this impact vector is. So, off of here, the damage causer, remember how I told you, make sure this is set, otherwise it's not going to work. Go and take the damage causer off of here. We're going to get actor location. Actor location, there it is. We also need to, let's go and get the capsule location, I guess. Oh, we'll stick with the skeletal mesh, why not? Mesh, get world location. Great. From here, we need to find look at rotation. Find look at rotation. We're going to start, oh, we have these upside down. Okay, we're going to start with the meshes location, plug that into start. Get actor location, plug that into the target. This, find out look at rotation now. Let's go and drag that on over. Go ahead and plug this bad boy into impact vector. It's going to convert it. That's great. That's exactly what you want. Thank you, Unreal, for doing all the hard work for us. Compile, and now it should work. Let's go ahead and try that out. Okay. Boom. There he goes. Off he goes to his death. Looks great. So we can see we've got this all set up now. Yeah. So it's not really that hard. These, you know, this particle effect death, if you want to see how to do this, I'd be happy to show it off. It's not really that complicated. It's just Niagara, and it's fairly lightweight. So yeah, more things, you know, if you want to see how to do like deaths like that, like melee deaths, let me know. There's a lot of good tutorials, but you know, my stuff will interact well with this system. Okay, well, thanks for coming on this journey, and of course, if you have any questions, you know, let me know. Happy to talk about it. Okay, thank you much. Goodbye. Okay, and just one final little part here, because I just wanted to show off. Look at how good this looks. So I set up an exploding barrel here, and when we shoot it, boom! They all go away from that point of impact. Okay, this is a great starting point. There's a ton of other stuff you can do, but yeah, enjoy. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, so from here, we're going to go back into our insectoid alien here, and we're going to set up everything to accept damage. So we're going to go event, any damage. And you know what? Let's go ahead and add a float for health. So variables plus health. I want it to be capitalized. Boolean, make sure that that is a float. Go ahead and compile, and we're going to set the default value here to, you know, let's make him easy to kill. 15, so I know I have to shoot him. So anytime we receive damage, we are going to set our health, and we're going to go to health minus subtract. So we're taking our existing health here, and we're subtracting the damage that we received, and then we are going to set our new health based on that. So we set all our new health here. Now we need to check to see if the character in the insectoid here is still alive. So we're going to do a branch, and if health less than or equal, always do less than or equal. I've seen a ton of people, and myself included when I was just starting out, you'll set this to equal 0. You won't do less than or equal, you do equal 0. And then because this is a float, it can be greater. You'll have, let's say you have 1 hit point left and you receive 5 hit points of damage. Well, now this is not equal. This is not equal to 0. It's equal to -4, I think. So your character will just keep living. And I've seen that frustrate a ton of people. So less than or equal. If the character is still alive in this scenario, we're not going to do anything. If it's true, if the character does have less than or equal to 0 hit points, we're going to kill an enemy. And right now, we're not going to do anything at this point. Well, actually here. True, we're going to go destroy actor, just so we know that our code is functioning properly. Go ahead and compile, and let's go ahead and make sure that our logic works here. Let me get my controller off the dock. By the way, if you want to use any third-party controllers for whatever reason, but they're not compatible with Unreal Engine, quick shout out how to WSAD or WASD, ReSAD is an incredible piece of software. It allows you to just anything you want. So if you want to use like a Stadia controller or a Switch Pro controller or whatever, this thing will recognize it and tell your computer, hey, no, this is actually an Xbox 360 controller. Don't worry about it. It's cool. It's all good. Yeah, hugely recommend this piece of software. This is not sponsored. Obviously, I don't have enough people to sponsor something. If they'd like to sponsor me, that would be cool, but I don't do this full time. Okay, let's make sure our guy works here. Boom, boom, boom. He disappeared. Perfect. Our code, our logic works. Great. Let's go ahead and start doing the fancy stuff now.